slowly getting on. Hi, Nisha. Hi, Carla. If you want to go ahead and start.
Okay. So I wanted to just go over a few things. A few people had problems getting, where did my thing go? So do you see the Canine Learning Academy? Is that what we see on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of people had trouble actually signing into this class. So I wanted to show you our website and how you can sign in. So this is our website. It's caninelearningacademy.com. If you go over to services, you'll see that there's online training, or you could just simply go to online training tab and pick which one you're interested in. So what you're doing now is called a group class. It's a live group class. So I'll click that. And that takes you to this page, which kind of just describes what group classes are, what you can expect, and then the 5 classes we currently offer. Now, if you want to register, right now all the classes are free, but later on, probably starting in May, there'll be a few classes that we are going to have a fee for if you're not part of our school program. But if you want to enroll in any of those classes right now, all you have to do, you could do a couple different things. You can just go here to group classes and go to online group class descriptions. And that takes you to this page here, which has the class name. Right now you see all the classes are free. And then you just press register now. And that takes you to the Zoom page where you can register. And once you register for one class, you'll get an email the following week when the class is back. So it's a 4, like the Puppy Start Right is a 4-session series. And then the other classes might be 6. But all the classes are, again, free, just taking donations. If you'd like to donate, that's how that works. So I just wanted to quickly share that because we did have some questions about how to enroll. And now we're back to, if you're here today, you're here for our manners for city dogs. And what that means is that it's not just regular obedience that you would learn in the presence of your home. It's how to take it out into the real world. So we take pride in that, and it's a part of the curriculum that we're using is what we do with our school dogs. We are going to change this course in May. So we have 2 more classes this month that we're going to be following the curriculum that we're doing now. And then we're going to change everything, and it's going to be a little more structured, like how we teach a manners class in our normal group class setting. This is class number 5, but we're going to do 2 more classes after this. So let me press play. By the way, this class rules, raise your hand or just simply type in under the, what's it called? It's not
Chat
Q&A.
window.
Chat. Yeah, if you have a question, we'll quickly answer it. So I'll be hosting this part of the just clicking the button and going through our presentation while Julie can handle questions. It's a little easier this way. If you don't have a question that's relevant, just you can simply ask it and we'll get to it at the very end. Class is going to be exactly an hour. We try not to go over, but feel free if you've got to leave, you can leave. It is recorded, so we upload it to YouTube, usually same night or the following day. The class is completely free, so feel free to just do us a favor and share on Instagram and Facebook. We got a lot of great posts. Oh my gosh, today they were just sharing, just screenshot it and say, hey, my dog, or I'm taking this class with Canine Learning Academy. Check it out. Try to go as wide as fast as possible. And those of you that are working and enjoy the class and the content, we are taking donations through PayPal. PayPal is info@caninelearningacademy.com. If you want to stay up to date on what we're doing, then you want to just get in on our Facebook Canine Learning Academy page, and we do have a private group page that we can send you the link to. This is a list of the classes that we currently have. Let's see. We have the Puppy Start Right class on Tuesday mornings. We have the CGC, which is an interactive class, a class that you would be taking with your dog. So it's not just a human class. We have Rowdy Rover right after this, and that's for dogs that might be a little bit reactive. And then our tricks class on Saturday is a class you would take with your dog to practice and learn new tricks. Manners class is the class that you're in right now. We currently going to keep that class for the rest of the month at this time. And then we're probably going to switch this class over to an interactive live class where you can practice these skills with your dog. One more thing, we have a Thursday 11 a.m. open, basically like an open mic or an open class where you can ask questions, get tips. You can bring your dog if you want to show us something, but for an hour, we're just going to hang out with you and hopefully be able to help or answer your questions. This week, we are going to be meeting with the CBD Dog Health, Angela Ardoling from New York. We have a live Facebook Live Wednesday, April 15th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to join in on that, we're going to be talking about just mental health during the COVID-19 on how to deal with issues that your dog might be having being at home and with you at home all the time. All right, Julie.
So for today's class, we're going to be reviewing, last class we went over the 3 types of heel that we use in our school program. Problem prevention, probably the #1 thing that we get a call about is jumping on people. So we're going to go over the routine that you need to practice to make sure that your dog doesn't continue doing this. What does the word no mean? We're going to do a little background on language for our dogs, their walk versus your walk, and the importance of both. Each week we're going through a different breed group. I just realized how awesome it is kind of for me because I've been doing all this research and now I know a lot about the AKC breed groups. So I hope that you guys are enjoying that little nerd out moment, and then an enrichment project for you as well.
So to review, last week we talked about what heel position is, what it's used for. We're going to review just the heel around cue. So just to review, heel basically means let's get over to my left or my right side and look at me. We asked you to just work on this last week and just get the position first before you start adding movement. Most of the time with our school dogs, we're teaching heel to mean get on our left side 2 to 4 inches away from our left heel or foot and also look. So that's what the end behavior of heel looks like. And we'll show you one more time. So for the around cue, it's like my screen is getting really dark.
People, a heel especially is a short-term thing that you're practicing with your dog. This isn't what you're doing your hour-long walk or 30-minute walk. Being in a heel is your dog's gonna really hate going on walks with you. This is definitely a short-term, getting through crowds, crossing the street, making sure that your dog is maintaining that professional-looking eye contact so that you can get through a situation, or especially living in a city, getting through crowds and migrating through stores. So just making sure that heel and loose leash walking, those are 2 different things that we're talking about.
So to review how to teach it, you're going to be facing your dog. We use targeting for this. And so if your dog has a follow target, we're going to use your right hand, and you're simply going to ask your dog to follow your right finger. You click as soon as their front paws pass your right heel, and then you reward on the left side.
Click or mark. Some of you have a verbal mark.
For dogs like Indy, I see Indy's mom is in class. This is on verbal like it is with Molly. So we switched from a hand cue to simply just saying around. All right. Moving on, jumping on people. We get a lot of phone calls on how do I keep my dog from jumping up on people that are coming to say hi. It's kind of nice that there's not a lot of people out, so they don't get to practice this a lot. But just in case, we do want you to learn and practice this. Let's see. So jump prevention, you do want to make sure your dog is being managed by being on leash when you're going to greet. Basic steps You want to stop the person that's coming to greet you or even talk to you from getting too close. You want to do a hand and a verbal cue. So it's like, hold up, stop. And then you want to take your attention because your dog is going to look at whatever you're looking at. So if you're looking at the person that's coming up, your dog is too. So instead of staring at them and addressing them, I want you to stop them first and then take your attention and look at your dog. Take notice, you know, are they excited to see this person? Are they showing signs of stress? Are they backing up? Are they beginning to show signs of, I'm about to lunge, I'm about to bark? So you want to acknowledge that first before you even say, yes, we can let these two, that let you come say hi. So once your dog is showing signs of being relaxed and at least wanting to meet them, you want to ask your dog to at least wait. If you can get them to go into a sit or down, it's even better because they're less likely to get up and jump. So it's look at your dog. If all looks well, ask your dog to sit. And then you want to give the person instructions on how they can come up and visit with your dog. You don't want to tell them to just come over and pat your dog on the head. That might show, give your dog some like stress. So instead, ask them to come in low, maybe pet them underneath their chin. Every dog, you know your dog best, so you're going to want to tell them exactly what you want them to do. And then you should reward your dog. You're the one that you want your dog to come and go, did I do it? Did I do it? Am I okay? So you want to reward your dog right when they're about to leave so that they don't follow the person and jump. So here's a quick video on all of that with our little Kona. And I see we have some questions. I can see the little thing going off. So there's the stop, verbal and hand. So Kona, you can see, is already out in front of Julie. The leash is, even though she's got herself secured, Kona is, if was allowed, he'd probably go on up and jump on this greeter. So Julie acknowledges Kona and asks for something a little more calm. And then here she's giving instructions, which of course he didn't listen. And so if you practice this with people in your home, you can have them start off with a more relaxed greeting. And then each time they greet, you can have them get a little more tense, like it really is in the real world when people are greeting your cute little puppies. So every repetition, they can come in a little bit more. His hands are down low, which insinuates I'm gonna pet you. So that's a good, that Kona now knows that, hey, I can keep my forepaws down. You're coming in for a nice, good pet. And here he's leaning into it. He's insinuating, I really, really like this. And then Julie calls him off to make sure he doesn't follow and jump. Julie, do you have any questions?
Say and when to say it. The whole stop, people don't listen. So really, make a firm statement. Stop. We're really trying to work on my dog's jumping right now. If they're bucking and they're pulling forward, it's probably not a good idea today. And it's okay to walk away.
Okay. I didn't hear hardly anything that you said. It's weird. My volume went off. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that might have been my mic. I'm sorry. I had the volume down.
Okay.
Just making sure that you, the human, are prepared with the same routine. So go and practice yourself with people in your house so that you feel comfortable stopping your neighbors or kids or other people that are rushing up in an instant. You already know what to say and how you're going to do it.
Julie, did you see the questions? Were you able to answer them?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So what does the word no mean? We get asked all the time, why don't you guys say no? Well, the reason we don't usually say no, I mean, we're human. Everyone says the word no.
but there's really no purpose to it because it doesn't give your dog any specific information. So if your dog doesn't understand the word jump, they don't understand the word no jumping, right? Because those are two English words that your dog doesn't specifically know. And if you're just saying no to this picture of Bentley right now, would it be no sitting, no look, tilting your head, no looking at me, making eye contact? All of these things could be associated with the word no. So it may interrupt the behavior like counter surfing or digging for that moment, but it doesn't actually tell your dog what to do or change the behavior long term, which is what we as trainers are looking for, is to make the big plan long term rather than just scaring them for a second and then trying to go back and fix it later. So it's a lot easier to use prevention and management when you have those undesired behaviors around the jumping, the digging, the barking, making sure that you're managing the environment and training the alternative behavior in the meantime. Yo, do you want to add to that?
I was just going to say, a lot of people use no, and the dog does pause for a second and they go,
Right.
They know what no means. And it's because they're trying to understand what the words are that are coming out of your mouth. So they're going, okay, so they don't actually, if you've never taught what no actually means, they don't know what you're saying. So their walk versus your walk. We get this a lot. My dog, wants to sniff all the time, or my dog keeps pulling me down the street because they want to go here, but I really want to get that 3.5 miles in. Depending on what you've trained your dog to, how you want your dog to walk is going to determine like how they walk. So there's their long leash walk where they get to explore. You've got your, loose leash walking skills where you're working on, hey, stay right here and I'll pay you. And then you've got do you need to go potty? So let them go sniff. We believe that letting your dog go sniff and bringing them back into a loose leash walking, so having more of an urban style of a walk is more appropriate. It's better for both you and them. I like to use sniffing as a reward instead of like getting upset. Is like, okay, I know what this dog that I'm walking really wants to sniff. So let's just walk from here to here. Okay, go sniff. Okay, let's go. So those are the two ways that I kind of go back and forth. And I actually allow by moving my feet towards the tree or opening up my arms. You'll see me, and I think I have this in this video. Yeah, go sniff and let's go. You'll see me kind of influence the direction of, hey, how about sniffing over here? Do you see anything that you want? I'll look up. I'll give them an opportunity to take that time to sniff and explore all of the DNA that's there. And then go back to let's go. Just kind of like how we do in our long leash bat walk. So if you really do want the dog to take a second to explore, you want to relax your body, let your arms come down, try not to stare at your dog. If they are into smelling something, go ahead and just be really still. And you'll see the right time to cue them to go back and walk. You'll have a much more pleasant walk if you do a little bit of both.
Right. So incorporating this as well as those exercise walks, we want you guys to still have your walk, to go out and do an exercise walk. Your dog is right next to you. You're enjoying the sights and the sounds. But this is about your dog, and they see the world through smells. So it's so important for them to engage in their environment by smelling absolutely everything, no matter how annoying and slow it makes our walks. This is an important part of their life, is smelling all those weird, gross smells. And they're gonna feel so much better. It lowers their heart rate. It decreases their blood pressure. It helps them wear them out mentally and helps them go home and be like, wow, that was a really great adventure. Man, we didn't even have to go that far, but I smelled the whole neighborhood. So
I break this walk into when I do take Bentley out, because now we're walking quite a bit, 3.5 to 5 miles. It looks like this. It's usually potty first. So I literally just stand within a couple houses and we just take the time to let them smell. Then I go into this where you see me go sniff. Okay, let's go. And then I do that for another 20 minutes. And then I go into our exercise walk, which is a lot faster pace. I pretty much will stay off the sidewalk and maybe use the street or get on the beach path. Our beach path is still open. And that's where we walk pretty quickly. And I'll go for a longer period of time before I go and give him a little break. So I like to use those 3 types of walks in my one walking session.
So today we're going to go over the Terrier group, right? So there's 7 major groups in the AKC, and the last few weeks we've gone over the first 3: herding, sporting, non-sporting, and we're going to skip over working to do that next time, but this time we're going to go over one of the largest groups, the Terriers. So there's 3 types of Terriers. Linda, I hope you're looking, your baby looks so cute here. The first one are called short-legged or earth dogs. These are your diggers. These are your Jack Russell Terriers and your Schnauzers and your Westies. These guys are made to go deep and find those little critters and bark like crazy to tell people exactly what they found and where they found it. So when you're wondering, why does my dog bark all the time? Well, some dogs were actually made to bark like that. So know your breed, right? So these guys are smart and independent workers, but they're also bred for feisty persistence. So once they get a scent or once they hook onto something, it's going to take a big juicy steak to rip them away from that job. The long-legged Terriers, like our beautiful Airedale here, were made for the friendly farmers. They were used for all around as diggers, as exterminators, as herders, guarders, fetchers, and their legs point straight forward. As you can see, rather than the little dogs over there, their legs are bowed out. So that's one of the differences, is they're this way versus this way. And then our beautiful bull types, which of course sadly were originally bred for fighting in the 18th and 19th century, but they were also bred for confidence and courage. So these dogs obviously have been used for fighting and guarding, but they're also really gentle, sweet dogs given the chance, because they are so loyal to the person that they're with. They're bred to hold on to that one person, and if that person tells them to do something bad, or if they tell them to do something good, they're made to follow the leader. So I know they get a really bad rap, but we here at Canine Learning Academy absolutely love our pit bulls. And this one is Aria. She's in our school program. She's going to be a therapy dog, and her mom is on here. So the other bull types are the bull terriers with the flat face. Bulldogs are actually in a different group, but there's a lot of different bull type terriers, pit bulls, Staffordshires, etc. So our terriers, very mouthy, very hunty, love to pick through things in the ground, right? Our diggers, our ratters. So this week we're talking about using your nose, using that mouth, and really getting in there like they would in the grass, sniffing or being allowed to dig in a more appropriate way. So the first game is the cup game. Hiding something smelly under one of the cups, playing your old time gambler in New York. You know, we're going to mix them up. I think it's called the oyster game. And then you spread them out really far. Here, Bentley just went for all of them. If they want to knock them all over, go for it. But only one of them has the treat. So the goal is through time to help them find the one cup that has the actual goodies in it. And then this is a snuffle mat. We really like these, especially for quick eaters, but any dog that loves sniffing and going to town in the grass is a big fan of snuffle mats.
We went to the Clicker Expo a couple years ago, and we're sitting 8 hours with your dog listening lecture after lecture. So I brought the snuffle mat that's up on the top, the red and blue one. I made it, and I brought that for each of the dogs that we had in class, and they just enjoyed. They could sit there for 45 minutes to an hour just going and digging and looking for their their food. So great way to keep your dog occupied. If you're working from home like we are, having a snuffle mat right next to you will teach your dog to just kind of hang out right there. So loose leash walking, we've got a couple different videos for you. I just wanted to review loose leash walking again. You want to start with just reinforcement high, especially if you haven't done it in a long time and you're going back and you're like, my dog keeps pulling. You've got to take those steps back and go back to the basics. So higher rate of reinforcement, rewarding your dog where you want them to hang out. Not going out into a park yet until they've gotten these basics down. This is your very first step. This is what you do. And I recommend doing it every single day, doing 2 minutes of practicing loose leash walking, turning, moving, not just going in a straight line, going, okay, I've got to go 3 miles. Instead, take a couple minutes and practice those skills. Our school dogs, this is the very first thing they do is loose leash walking.
And once they're warmed up, because you're using their brain, you're using their body, you're making sure that they're focused on you, I guarantee the rest of your walk is going to be a lot better than it usually is, because your dog started off on a good foot. They're already naturally looking at you. They're excited to be outside. But at that point, they're getting reinforced. They're getting paid for working. And now they don't need so much to bolt out the door, to bolt across the street, to jump on that dog over there. It becomes more, the walk becomes more about you and them rather than just them.
So it should be the first thing that you do after they've gone potty is do a few repetitions, letting them know, hey, we're working for a second. It'll get them into that work mode and make your walk so much more enjoyable. Once you have a dog that's always like, okay, we working, then you can take it out to the park, maybe set up some cones, or if you've got lines in your sidewalk, use those lines to kind of practice what we call the cone drill. This is one of the exercises we do with your dog when they're in school.
Parking lots are also great because the lines are evenly spaced.
So getting a few sits, you can sit at every single cone if you want to really get that sit down. So you can sit at the curb, you can sit feet together is usually our cue that means, hey, we're gonna sit, or you can cue the sit. So this is good enough for this family. They don't mind if the dog is turned in kind of a little off position. They don't care. They walk all 3 dogs at the same time, so it's fine. But I'm still paying him where I want him to be, which is kind of right behind my left knee. But look at that amazing eye contact. Great eye contact. Watching, waiting for the mark, right? For the click. So before you work with distractions, you want to work with your dog by himself on these kind of drills. Then you can add distractions like with another dog.
And paying your dog where you want them is definitely an important part, I want to reiterate, by treating them exactly where you want them, whether it's on the right or the left side, being consistent where you treat the dog. That dog will show up to that point every single time because they know where the goods are. So be consistent, be consistent.
If you were to do that exercise at the beginning of your walk, and then you see a dog across the street. So this video, we would typically start across the street and we would progressively get closer so that you're on the same sidewalk. If they are already in work mode and they know what you're asking for, they're going to be in work mode no matter what the trigger is, if you're paying them enough or if they've got a really good bond. So like for usually myself and Julie and the trainers, we always pay with a high pitch, good boy or good girl, or we just simply pay them with a reinforcement or petting. So they know that we pay them. So they're more likely to listen to us when we pass a distraction like another dog. Oops. So that's not easy for a dog. This dog looks at the dog walking by and then comes back to the handler and gets paid for not reacting, right? So any questions on how to work with the distraction? I'm just showing you, like, on the same sidewalk, this is more challenging. You'd normally start across the street, working the same thing and progressively get closer and closer to your on the same side.
No questions so far. So y'all just chime in when you do have one, or we'll circle back at the end of class for a group target, for group questions. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. Go for it, yo.
Nose targeting. So following a target is the second part to nose targeting. Nose targeting at the very beginning, we're just asking the dog to, hey, bring your nose over to whatever object we present. So in this case, I think we're doing a hand as the target, right? So it's nose to the hand. After you get dog moving forward a couple inches, you're going to want to move a little bit left, a little bit right, and then you can progressively move a little further away. Those are small little steps that you take before you can go, here, bring your nose over here and move. So this is part 2. So after you've already got nose targeting down and you've maybe already put it on cue, then asking your dog to follow your target hand is going to help launch you into this next portion of nose targeting. We do, even with our school dogs, go from the beginning. We do the very basics, you know, we touch and they're right there and they're like, boom, you know, they're like, oh yeah, I know this game. We get them motivated with something easy. Then we'll go into a little more movement, especially if we know what we're going to be presenting or teaching.
Even with our own dogs who are not puppies anymore, hers is 6, mine's 3, we still warm up just like you would for any other skill or any other sport you would do. We still warm our dogs up with really simple tasks before we get to the really big stuff.
So do you guys notice that he's not just giving me a nose target? He's giving me like his nose, his paw, he's opening his mouth. When we're breaking this skill down with our private clients, sometimes they'll ask us a question like, how do I get him from stop opening his mouth? I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think we need to do to get just a nose target, or to not at least get the whole open mouth? So go ahead and use your chat and chat in there and put down, what do you think we need to do to stop him from opening his mouth when we're asking for just the nose? And Joanna, you better know this answer.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
It's pretty quiet. Oh, there we go. Click sooner. Thank you, Joanna. Reward quickly before the mouth opens. Also a possibility. Only reward when mouth closed. So it's not just about the timing of the reward, although I like that you guys are thinking about that's what's getting him, or that's what's making it happen more often. It's about the timing of the mark, the click, or the verbal mark. So, yo, you wanna, oops, I meant mark.
So what we do, click sooner is what I need to do in order to get the no open mouth. And because we're just warming up, we're okay if he's using his paw and his mouth and his nose. We just want him to be motivated to want to learn. So the very first few times that you're working with your own dog, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect right from the beginning. You'll get there, but you want them to want to play and you want them to want to participate. So some of you that say to me, my dog never listens, it's probably because you've upped the criteria. You've raised the bar so high that your dog's like, oh, it's not fun anymore. It's just too hard. So take it down a notch. Have fun first, and then you can ask for a little bit more precision. So why
just like you're shooting an arrow to a big target, you have to get on the board first before you hit the bullseye. So
I don't want to get out of the car first and have the equipment to play. So.
Right. So give your dog some range. Don't expect perfection right off. We can get better and better and better, but you got to get on the board. You got to play the game first.
That's a good point. Yeah. So the reason why Kona was offering all this stuff is I haven't seen him for a good 6 weeks, and then he's back at home finally after 6 months of board and train. He's home with his family and he's doing really well. So he's pretty excited. So he was just like offering everything. But what he did enjoy doing was following. So you notice that after I moved my hand, I got a lot better, more precision, and a lot more of what I was looking for. So now it's just simply the nose. He's like, I know this, come on, get to it. So it was just excitement that was causing all of this other stuff. So here's how you get movement. You have him follow, you click before he touches his nose to your hand, and you create some movement with your dog. If you're not already doing this, I highly recommend you practice this every day, just so that your dog wants to learn new tricks and learn new things. You could teach your dog anything if they follow your hand.
Right, so the first part, in part 1, we talked about your hand being still and then getting there and touching their nose to it. When they're following the target, the point is for them not to catch it. So some people stop a little early and then their dog touches and they back up because they think that that's done. Whatever they were just doing, the activity is done because they've touched your hand. So remember that when you're following the target, you want to just mark the movement, not necessarily the actual nose on the hand.
What do you see, Julie? Because
I don't see the presentation. I just see you.
Okay. For some reason, it's not. There's some questions. Why don't you answer those questions and there it is.
We've already answered the questions, actually.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Does anyone have any other questions? Because we've gone over a lot of information so far. We did loose leash walking, heel, anything about targeting? No. Okay.
So then we'll go into paw targeting. So yeah, targeting, I think we're going into paw targeting after this. Targeting just simply means bringing whatever object of the dog to another object. So we can use targeting to teach almost anything. Hip to a mat is targeting. Chin to your hand or your palm is targeting. Nose to ring a bell. Paw to say hello. Those are all targeting. So once we are able to teach a dog what the cue is for that particular body part, so if there's a paw involved, or if there's a nose, or if there's a hip, then we can teach them anything. Like, there's no limit to what we can teach.
This is actually how they do medical procedures in zoos and in aquariums, right? You can't put a whale on a leash and pull him over to the side. They actually teach these gargantuan animals to press up against a window by using targeting, putting their shoulder against a window so that someone can reach in and draw blood or inspect a specific area on their body. So it's remarkable. It works for all sizes and ages. If you can teach a dog to target one area, you can help him or her target a lot of other things.
So paw targeting is a good trick, but it's also used for husbandry. If you need to cut your dog's nails, or if you've got a doodle or a dog with a lot of hair, sometimes they get those little things stuck inside their paw. So being able to be okay with you holding their paw is really important. So this next video is the skills to break it down from the very, very beginning. So if your dog has never, ever done a paw target, this is how it starts at the very beginning. And we're going to show you 3 different cues that you can use for paw targeting. One is first the shake or the paw. Like if you say paw, your dog brings their paw right to your hand, and now you can, look at their nails or whatever. And then the next one's high five, and the last one say hi. So you want to go through the audio for this one, Julie?
Yeah, so the very first part of what we use in school, we say the word paw. You're going to put your hand all the way flat down on the ground, pinky to pinky with your dog. It's a lot easier for your dog to reach out because of their physiological differences than it is for them to reach in. So putting your pinky on their pinky we're gonna put it there and wait for them to make a movement, whether it's back, up, forward, to the side, right? They just have to be on the board to play the game. So any movement, we're gonna mark it, we're gonna reinforce it, and we're gonna keep repeating that until we can add, you know, an inch of height and then 2 inches of height. So if you'll go back to the beginning, you'll see that she puts her hand all the way on the floor and just waits for him to make a move. Now he knows this behavior, obviously, because he's already picking his paw up. But if your dog doesn't, you're going to just have your hand there and wait for any kind of movement. If your dog has this behavior, you're going to start raising it by putting your hand right on top of their hand. So all they have to do is lift up a little, and then a little, and then a little. So once you've gotten to about mid front leg, I'm not sure what else I would call that, mid front leg. The elbow, they don't really have, I mean, they have kind of an elbow, but you're gonna start switching. Oh, here, generalizing, making sure that your dog can put their paw on a lot of different things. This is the beginning of tricks, but it's also practical, like she said, to trim your nails, to put their paws up, to get them in a car, teaching your dog to put up their paw, not just on your hand, but on an object that you're presenting, comes in pretty handy, pardon the pun.
And once your dog is reliably lifting their paw up, they know what you want. So you want to quickly put it on cue. So it would look like by the third or fourth time you see them lifting up, you're going to say the cue as their hand is coming, or their paw is coming up. You're going to say paw or shake, and then you're going to mark it yes or click, and then reward. And you're going to gradually move the cue so that it's being said sooner before they're actually moving their paw. The goal would be to be able to say the word paw, pause for 1 second, and then present the target that you want them to put their paw on. So it's paw, yes, and then everything gets removed and then the food comes out. So that's how we teach paw. Most of you in the school program that have been there for a while, your dog has a paw target, and so we just call it paw. And then we go into the next segment, which is our high five. It's the same, it looks the same to us, but the hand target movement is a little different.
So also with targeting, remember that you're presenting and then you're taking it away. So even when we're asking for a paw, we're putting our hand down, they do the behavior, and then we're gonna take that hand away so that we can present it again. So making sure that it's not just lying out, right? Each time she clicks, she rewards, and then she picks her hand up to do it again. Just your sweatshirt isn't
So notice the difference of where the hand is being placed. And I'm
right under the shoulder.
And after a reliable amount of repetitions of your dog bringing their hand up a little higher, you can now call this behavior, or this, you can put a different cue on it. So instead of paw, we call this one high five.
And we also differentiate between paw is low to a flat hand, and high five, we're much higher, getting an upper hand. So.
And then the last one in our school program is our say hello. It's very similar to the paw. You're going to just move your hand up, and they're, you know, obviously they know what you're asking for. So they start to lift, and you're going to click before that contact happens. And it just means bring your hand up to here, and they're not going to obviously shake it, but that becomes the cue.
Right. So them reaching out is the goal behavior. Notice that he's sitting on something where he can't slide back. We don't want your dog sliding around while they do this, to make sure that we protect their shoulders.
Any questions on Paw Target and what it might be used for, or how to teach it? He's looking at the tree pouch. All right.
So crates. I love crates. I know that some people are diametrically opposed to crates, but I am not one of them. Crates are a wonderful resource, especially if you have multiple dogs, but also to keep your own dogs safe, you know, I get a lot of questions of, you know, do we really have to pick everything? What if I can't get my kids to pick up their stuff, right? Well, then we have to be able to guarantee that our dogs can't swallow something really dangerous, not rip up paper or paychecks, things like that. And crates are one of the ways that we do it. My dog loves her crate. She'll bolt from halfway down the street to get into the van crate. So it's a crate, not a cage. They're not locked in there. They're not being shoved in there. This is their bedroom. And all kids or all, you know, people in your house need their own space. So this is definitely one of our favorites for puppies.
Older dogs too, if you've just recently brought home a rescue and you just don't know anything about their background, you don't know whether they're likely to chew up your couch or take your medicine off your cabinet counter. So it's important to make sure they do have a safe space. You do want to go through the same steps of exposing your dog to a crate as you would if they were a puppy. You want to take it slow. You want to get on the ground. You want to use a reinforcement of some kind. You want to have a positive exposure to a crate. This dog on top is actually, I think she's 12 weeks. She's big. She's an Aussie Doodle, and the owner, the handler, is older and wanted to be able to leave the house and couldn't trust her, you know, being in the house by herself. They didn't want to put a bunch of gates and X-pens. They have a beautiful home. So a crate was what we chose to do. The dog on the bottom is a dog that I talk about quite a bit, Callie. He was rehomed with Curtis, and after he had a bite history of, you know, 4 or 5 bites at the time, and he couldn't be trusted when someone comes over. He couldn't be trusted if Curtis and his girlfriend were sitting next to each other. He would attack in some way or another. So teaching him to go in the crate on cue became a way for him to be comfortable living in a new home and relaxed. So we ended up teaching crate to him right when we had him rehomed with Curtis, and he absolutely, like Julie's dog, would bolt to go into the crate because it meant something good was about to happen. We took this wired crate. He went to school with us. He was great with other dogs. It was just people that we couldn't trust. And because we teach in a public park, we never know who's going to come around. And he's so athletic and strong. Having a crate that we can put him in saved, and it allowed him to be able to go out in public with us. So
it's also great for traveling or boarding. If you travel a lot, there's going to be a time where your dog is probably needs their own space, whether they're staying at home or you're traveling, like for a small dog, putting them in a bag or a carrier in your car. So having it prepared, even if you don't use it on a daily basis, there will come a day when it's definitely going to be important, like they have surgery and you need to keep them confined. There's lots of reasons. If they have to go to the vet and stay overnight, we want to make sure that your dog is prepared to handle hanging out and chilling in a crate under any circumstance. So even if it's not your everyday goal, having that in your skill set is going to be important at some time.
Yeah. And this dog, Angelo, is over a year now and is traveling with Joanna. She's in the KPA program. And this is his little carrier. And this is how he travels in the car. And when you know, he actually gets kind of bounced around in different homes. He'll stay with me. He stays with his dad. He'll go with Joanna when she's on. So having a carrier like this has made it easy for him to be able to pick up and go and travel.
And he really loves this bag. I mean, you can see it's not just a trick. Like, he gets really excited when he gets to jump in because he knows he's going to go somewhere fun and do some exciting work. So this is your homework for the week, practicing that jump prevention routine. So, what are the steps of jump prevention again?
So if you can set up your camera and kind of record yourself doing this with an imaginary person, so use a chair or a cone as a prop, and you're going to go through step 1, pretending to say, stop, hold on, my dog is in training. And then step 2, look at your dog, and your dog's probably going to be like, who are you talking to? Step 3, See if your dog is comfortable. Go ahead and ask them to do a sit. If you practice this without the distraction of another actual human being being in the room, they're more likely to do that and they'll get into this routine. So again, 1, stop them from coming closer. 2, take a look at your dog, see if they're okay. 3, ask your dog to sit. 4, tell the person, so you'll just tell the imaginary cone or chair or person, go ahead and pet my dog, just pet underneath the chin and pretend that that's happening. You can actually pet if you want. And then 5, reward your dog before they follow the person and jumps.
Right. Yeah, that's, and it sounds like an easy routine, but it needs to be so automatic so that when that screaming teenager runs, oh my God, she's so cute, and just has to pet your dog, you are already.
Oh, I don't mind. I have a dog at home that bites all the time. I really don't mind.
And we get people that say that all the time, but I mind, you should mind. We want to make sure that our dogs are trying to be on their best manners. Follow the target. See if you can get if your dog already has a follow the target, we want to see what you're doing with it, whether it's peekaboo, doing some spins, doing a round. If it's your first time, just having your dog follow that target, shoot us some video or show up on Thursday and show me in person. Loose leash walking around distractions. So talking about the different steps, this will all be, this is recorded as we speak. And so if you guys need to go back and review the steps, making sure that you understand how to get it started, this will be posted either tonight or tomorrow on our YouTube page.
And try the cup game. Try do 3 solo cups and move them around and see if your dog actually can sniff and find the cup that has the food underneath. Another one that's really fun is if you take 20 cups and you put them under a few and then they come into the room and they just go and, hit over
knock them all over. Yeah, they get to make a mess and it's not really that big of a deal because you set it up for them anyway. So let your dog have a little doggy fun. We're all going a little crazy. We could all use a project for inside. So help your dog have a little more mental enrichment while we're all stuck at home.
Yes.
Any questions?
Yeah, we're on our private group page. Remember that you can submit videos if you'd like to get some feedback. Otherwise, we do have that coaching session on Thursday if you want to join us. I think we're going to just do a live Facebook. Otherwise, we'll have a Zoom and stuff. I'm not quite sure what we want to do with that. But make sure you are on our Canine Learning Academy Facebook page so that we can keep you posted. So if there's no more questions, we'll rest for a little bit. We've got a class at 6:30. Again, all of the classes are free. A lot of people are taking more than one class. We highly recommend it. A class that complements this is the tricks class on Saturday, giving your dog something to do, working on bonding with your dog, and teaching a bunch of fun new tricks. Anything else, Julie?
I think we got it. Thank you guys all so much for showing up. I see Sylvia even tuned in. I miss my Canella so much. So thank you guys for showing up. If you're coming to the next class, we'll see you in a second. Otherwise, tune in next week. Thank you so much for being here and have a good night.
See you in 5 minutes, Julie.
Okay. Bathroom.